So far now, what we have done, we understand how the analysis is being done with the help of Python. And for the same purpose, we'll use the library known as Pandas. Okay, we have studied in detail. In detail, we have studied how to do the data analysis using Pandas. Second, how to explore your data, that thing we have also studied, known as EDA. Okay, already studied that. We have studied different methods. We studied last time matplotlib, and CBOS. Okay, and as I told you, most of the time a machine learning engineer spends on EDA part. Most of the time, suppose I say 10 hours he have to build a model, then 7 hours at least he will be spending only on this, so that he can find out the patterns among the data. Once he has done this, please mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted.
अभी नहीं करूंगी, नेट चल.
Okay, so once he has done the EDA and everything, okay, second thing, he will be, after doing the EDA and everything, he will be needing to build the machine learning model. Okay, so but before the building machine learning model, understand one thing, please, that's very important. And we will do that, I think, tomorrow itself. We will be building our first machine learning model with the help of Python. So when machine learning model building is going on, understand first of all, your data may have text columns, means your categorical column, or may have numerical column. For example, there is a column known as age. Okay, there's a column known as example gender. Okay, there is a column known as salary. Okay, there is a column known as height, whatever I'm mentioning example. Okay, and there is a column known as weight, and there is a column, suppose one more column is there, age, gender, salary, height, and one more column is there, married or unmarried. One more column, and your output variable is whether he will purchase my product or not. Suppose he came to my showroom and I want to know whether he will purchase that product or not. This is my machine learning task. I'm just taking an example. Okay, this is my machine learning task. So some data set has been given to me, which is different variables. One is age, gender, salary, height, weight, married or unmarried, and this is purchase, whether he will purchase or not. Okay, so age column, of course, will be a numeric column. We don't have to think about it. Suppose 23, 37, 40, age he may be having. But gender is not that. Gender is not a numerical column. It's a categorical column. So you will be mentioning male, female, or again male, or some. Salary will be a numeric column. Again, suppose 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, and so on. Okay, height will be a numeric column. Again, 1.2 meter, 3.4 meter, 5.6 meter, weight is some parameter, 3.4. Although in purchasing your any product, height and weight doesn't matter in this case. I'm just taking an example to make you understand. Okay, 3.4, then weight is suppose 32 kg, then 45 kg, 56 kg. Married is, suppose he's married. He's not married, he's married. Okay, and this is my output variable. Suppose this history says that, okay, if these are the attributes, means 23, age, male, this, he didn't purchase a product. If history is like 37, female, this, he didn't purchase the product. But if it's like 40, M, 20,000, 56, he purchased the product. Okay, so understand, you are trying to train your machines, right? You are trying to train your machine, and machines are what? Machines only understand 0 and 1s, means they understand only numeric data. They only understand your numeric data. They don't understand text. But here, see, these are numbers, fine, perfectly fine, right? These are your, these are your numbers. Okay, fine, machine learning model will work on them. But on this text, which is your categorical columns, M, F, M, yes, no, yes, these are your categorical columns. If you directly give it to the machine learning model will not learn anything from them. It will not learn anything from them. So it will be our duty. It will be our duty to convert these columns, categorical columns, into numeric columns. Okay, we will need to convert this categorical columns into numeric columns. Similarly, this categorical column into numeric column. Once all the columns, means all input variables, are converted into the numeric, then we can send to a machine learning algorithm. Okay, only then we will be able to send our machine learning algorithm. On the basis of that, my machine learning algorithm will be trained. Okay, so this is very important. Oh, you explore the data. Okay, find out. You explore the data. You dealt with missing values. Suppose you drop the missing values, or you replace the missing value by the mean value, mode value, or uh, median value. You deal with that. You remove the outliers. Everything is fine. There was some skewness. You remove that skewness, but issue is that your data is still not ready. You have to change your object columns or your categorical columns into numeric data. So that one more task will be recording. And all these things we are doing is known as data pre-processing. All things are known as data pre-processing. Using means processing the data before building actual machine learning model. Before building actual machine learning model, you are doing all this pre-processing, right or wrong? What you are doing? You are pre-processing your data. You are processing your data prior to building actual machine learning model. All this comes under the data pre-processing. Okay, so different things we have to do. We have to, as I told you, we have to deal with the missing values. We have to deal with the outliers. Okay, we have to convert our text columns into numeric columns. At the same time, suppose this scale is 10,000. Okay, this scale is 15,000. This is 20,000. This is 1.2. This is 32. And suppose your algorithm is distance-based algorithm. We'll come across this. Distance-based algorithm. In that particular scenario, if you send this data directly to my machine learning algorithm, it will not give me proper results. It will not give me proper result because here even you have converted everything into the numeric, but scale of this is 10,000. Okay, scale of this is 37. Scale of this is 20,000. Suppose I built up a machine learning model which is performing like, I'm just giving an example. Giving an example which made an equation like 3 into salary. Okay, 3 into salary plus 2 into weight. This is suppose I'm just giving an example. Understand? Suppose it is predicting purchase or not. I'm just giving an example. Okay, 3 into salary plus 2 into weight plus 3 into height, or you can make even a square, weight square, height square, doesn't matter, plus 4 into married or unmarried, plus only 1 into your age, something like that. Okay, you build on. When you substitute the values, can you tell me which factor is going to decide your result? Which is going to decide in total calculation, which of the parameters like salary, weight, height, married or unmarried, or age is going to decide the outcome of this result? Can you tell me that? You have seen that salary was 10,000, 15,000, 16,000, but weight was 50 kg, 60 kg. Height was 1.72 something, okay, or something. Married was some numeric coding you will do, it will be available. Okay, age is numeric 23, 46. So which is the largest? Which is largest? Your salary. So most of the result will be revolve around things. Suppose my salary is 15, so 15 into 3 will be your 45,000. Now these amounts are very small. 2 into this plus 3 into this and 3 into this. So major of the decision you will always take on the basis of salary. You become biased now, right or wrong? Please tell me now. Please, and are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're understanding. That is what I'm saying. So if you don't have a same scale, then your results will not be proper. You will say all the time the results are depending only on salary. Because whatever you add, make it will maximum add to suppose 1,000. Okay, so 45 plus 1 will be your 46,000. Okay, now if somebody has salary of 15,000, suppose, this was the case of salary 15,000. Suppose now somebody has a salary of 2,000 only. Okay, somebody has a salary of 2,000, but all these factors suppose cumulatively make 2,000. Okay, all these cumulatively made 2,000. Even means earlier in case of the salary was 15,000, we guessed that all these will contribute to 1,000. Okay, so how we made 3 into 15 plus all this contributed 1,000. So we said that 3 into 15 will be 45 plus 1 will be 46,000. Okay, in this case we said that all these contribute to suppose not 1,000, more than that, just double of that, 2,000. But this time the person's salary is only suppose say whatever you can say, suppose 6,000 rupees. So now how will you compute? 3 into 6 will be 18 plus 2,000. How you get 20,000? Even these terms contributed more. These terms contributed more, but this resultant is coming bigger. This resultant is coming smaller. Q. Why? Reason is, which is the major factor here? Salary. You will not be able to get proper results if you don't have proper scale. For that, you have to do scaling of your data. You have to bring them within one range so that you can make proper decision. There are different scaling, min-max scaling, standard scaling that we are going to do when we are going to study your actual implementation. Then I'll tell you. Are you getting my point? Why it is required means directly you cannot use the numeric data as well. You have to think about it. If they are not in the same scale, your results will be wrong. And why results will be wrong? Are you getting my point? Your results will be decided by, although there are several parameters, salary, weight, height, you are married or unmarried age, but all the time you are making decision on the basis of what? Only salary. Suppose I made a conclusion, if somebody is having salary of 25,000, at least he will purchase. He will purchase. Okay. So who is going to contribute more? All the time salary. Okay. Suppose I'm saying, okay, whatever these are contributing, whatever the result of this overall calculation will be. I'm deciding that if this overall contribution is 20,000 or greater than that, okay, then I will say that the person will purchase. If its overall contribution of all the factors is less than 20,000, then the person will not purchase. So which is the main contributing factor? These all are very small values. How much they will contribute? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But major contributor is what? Salary. So why you are needing that even? Right? So you cannot directly use, need to bring your data into same scale. You need to bring data into your scale, same scale, and that we will do with the help of scaling. Okay, so data processing, you are seeing several things we are doing. What we are doing? We are dealing with our missing values. How to deal with that? If they are very less, remove them. If they are not very less, impute them, means replace them by some values. Remove your outliers. Deal with them. Okay, missing value treatment, outliers, right? Converting your text data or categorical data into numeric data, right? Next, scaling your data so that all come under the same scale. Even dealing with the skewness will come with that. No issue with that. Okay, so these all the tasks you are going to perform before building your machine learning model, and all these tasks are known as data pre-processing. All these tasks are known as data pre-processing. You will perform all these things. Remember, keep it in somewhere in your brain. Okay, these things I have to do. I have to look for the missing value. Are there? Remember, this is the machine learning life cycle. How you make it? Okay, you see, okay, are there any missing values? I have to check it out. I have to check for outliers. Okay, I have to convert my text column or the object column into numeric data. Okay, I have to scale my data so that the same all of them come into the same scale. Okay, similarly, you have to deal with the skewness. Means it is possible my data is shifting only to the one side. That is also not good thing. Okay, so all these things, scaling, converting text to numeric, your outlier treatment, missing value treatment, skewness, comes under the data pre-processing. Once this is done, once you are done with this kind of thing, normally now we say my data is ready for building my machine learning model. Okay, now my data is ready to build my machine learning model. If somebody asks you, are you ready to answer? What do you mean by data pre-processing? Okay, he may ask you. So in simple words, sir, I will process my data so that it becomes suitable for building my machine learning model. In simple line, I will process my data to make it suitable for my machine learning algorithm. Is it fine, everyone? And this scaling, as I told you, will be required for those algorithms which are distance-based algorithms. We'll study today one distance-based algorithm. Good one. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me, is it okay till this point?
Yes, sir.
I'm listening to the voice of only one, not other.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Data pre-processing. Got your point. Okay. Tomorrow we'll be doing that. Don't worry. Okay. Next, coming further. Okay. Now you have done all these things. You have done all these things. Now you are ready to build a machine learning model. Now, which machine learning model to build? Then the things come. Which machine learning model to build? So in machine learning, basically, models or algorithms have been divided into 3 categories. Normally. Okay. One is known as supervised learning or supervised algorithms, learnings. Okay. Second one is known as unsupervised learning. And third one is entirely different thing. It is known as reinforcement learning, entirely different. People are doing lots of research on reinforcement learning. And biggest example, if you have seen the self-driven car, people are exploring that. Okay, still it is not yet successful completely. Okay, self-driven car. But if you play video games, okay, if you use robotics, there comes your reinforcement learning. Video games and everything, this is things being deployed. I'll tell you why it is called reinforcement and means, or what do you mean by that? Don't worry. So 3 kind of models are there. So you have to select which kind of machine learning algorithm I have to choose: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. All have different use cases. Understand how and why, which to use when. In case of supervised learning, supervised, okay, learning, what is going to happen? There is going to be a supervisor who is going to check what you are doing. Okay? Let me take an example. There are some features like x1, x2, x3, x4. These are my input features or input variables. Okay. And there is an output variable as well, y, which is also known as label or target sometimes. Okay. So in case of supervised learning algorithm, you will be given your input features along with your target or label. Okay, you will be given your input features as well as target. For example, I said x is 1, x2 is 2, x3 is 3.4, and x4 is 5. Then y is, suppose example, I said, let's say, let me take a categorical example for now. Y is, suppose I'm saying, if this is the thing, x1 1, x2 2, x3 3.4, x4 4. Suppose I said y is lion. Example, I'm just taking an example. Suppose he's a cat. Okay, it can be any attribute. Doesn't matter. I'm just giving cat or category 1. Any category it can be. Similarly, I said x2 is 2. Sorry, x1 is 2. X2 is 3. X3 is 5.4. X4 is 6. Then it belongs to category 2. Okay. Again, x1 is 1.5, x2 is 3, x3 is 4.6, x4 is 3. Then again it is category 1. Again, x2 is 3, x1 is 3, x2 is 3, x1 is 6.4, and x4 is less 7. Then it is again category 2. Okay, like this. I mean, this kind of data will be given to you. Some input features, on the basis of that, corresponding output features. Okay. Why I'm mentioning x1, x2, x3, x4? Because if you are going to give an interview of data science, okay, then they will be giving you a task to perform. They will not take only your interview. They will not take only your interview. They will also give you a task to complete. They will say, this is my data set, complete this, and tell me what outcome you are getting. So what they will do, instead of actual feature name, they will hide them and they will give some random name. For example, x1, x2, x3, x4, although they may have different meaning. For example, it may be a sex, it may be age, but they won't show you. They won't show you for their privacy level. They will code them and they will give you. It may be like this: ABC, X1 column ABC, this is second one BCD, head one SCD. They don't want you to actually, because till you become their actual employee, they don't want to show you their actual data. That's why they hide their feature names. They hide their feature names and give them their random names so that you are never able to predict. This is actual industry scenario. That's why I mentioned that. Okay. And if you want to take a easy example, let me take this one. Okay. So an easy example, I said there is an input attribute height. There is one more input attribute, let's say weight. Okay. And this is my output variable gender. This is my output variable. Okay. And I'm saying that if highest is 1.4 meters and weight is 55 kg, then the gender is female. Okay. If height is 1.5 meter, but weight is 65 kg, I'm saying that he's male. If height is 1.7 meter, weight is 62 kg, he's a male. If height is 1.7, but weight is, let's say, 55 kg, she's a female. Again, height is 1.8 meter, weight is 70 kg, he's a male. Height is 1.8, but weight is 63, then she's a female. Okay. Now, this kind of data set is given to you. Okay. So what is being asked to you? Okay. This is the data set. Use it. Use it to train your algorithm. Use it to train your algorithm. Once you will train your algorithm, in this, what you will do, you will try to predict a relationship between gender and height and weight. You will try to find out a relationship between your output variable and input variable. Some sort of relationship you will try to find out between your output variable, which is also known as your label or target, and your input variable. You will try to find out a relationship. Once you find out that relationship, suppose relationship names anything, some function of, let's say, x times height plus y times weight. This is your input function which you derived. Okay, this is being done. Now what I will do, once you say, okay, I have learned, my machine has learned from this. What is the relationship between my gender and height and weight based on these parameters? Based on these parameters, this is known as your training data. This is known as your training data. Once you will say that from my training data, my model is able to identify a relationship between target and input variables, I will say my machine learning model is trained. Now what I will do? I will take a new data. In which case only height is known, okay, and weight is known. And I'll give this input to my trained machine learning model. Height is this, weight is this, but gender is not known. I want to predict that. So I will send this kind of input to my machine learning model. And from the learned model that is find out the relationship, it will tell me whether, as per these parameters, the person is a male or a female. Okay. So those algorithms which have input variables as well as your output variable is given to you. Means your label is given to you. You have labeled data. In easier word, you have your labeled data. This is a technical term in the data science. When we have labeled data, means along with the input variables, output is also mentioned. This kind of data, if you are getting, which algorithm we are going to work? We are going to work with supervised learning algorithm. Because I'm learning under the supervision of this. See, the data is there. This is the history which is available. From this, try to find out the relationship between gender and height and weight. So when you have a labeled data, you have input variables as well as output variable given to you for training. This is known as your supervised learning, so that you can learn from that. You can learn from your model. Okay, this was the height, this was the weight, so person should be male. Okay, fine. So it will try to find out the relationship. This is nothing but your supervised learning. Means you have been given a labeled data in which input variables are there, as well as your target variable or the output variable is there. Is it fine, everyone? Get an idea? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what will be given in the supervised learning algorithm? Remember, labeled data. Use the technical term. What will be given? Labeled data. What is the point? So what you can call your gender. Gender can be called as output variable. Okay, sometimes also called as dependent variable because it is dependent on height and weight. Sometimes as label, sometimes as target. So same thing can be known by different ways, and this is can be asked in interviews. Your person may your interviewer may ask, okay, this is my output variable, or this is my dependent variable, or this is my label, this is my target variables. Understand, both are same, and these are my input attributes or input variables which are available, also known as features. Also known as features. We are calling them input variables. We are calling them input attributes. We are also calling them features. Sometimes we call that these are the features and this is the label. Got an idea? So features normally means what? Your input variables, and label means your output variable. So when your features are given as well as your label is also given in this kind of algorithm, which algorithm we are going to use? We are going to use our supervised learning algorithm. Tell me, is it okay, everyone? Please. Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. Means got an idea perfectly. We will try to find out a relationship between our target variable and the features or the input features. We'll try to find out that relationship. Okay. And we are being supervised. Why? By what? By this output variable. You are at least able to see, okay, this is the case, this should be the output. So let me tune it further. An actual machine learning algorithm works how? You have a big training data. Understand what is the flow of machine learning. You will get a data. You will get your data set. Okay. On data set, you will perform your data pre-processing or data cleaning, whatever you call it. You will do your data pre-processing. That we understood, right? We did our data pre-processing or cleaning. Now what we will do? We will divide our data in two parts. We will divide our data in two parts. One part will be kept aside, known as test data. Okay. One part of the data will be kept aside, known as test data. And one part of the data, known as training data, will be sent to my machine learning algorithm. So what kind of data will be sent to the machine learning algorithm? Known as training data. Means data on basis of which my ML algorithms try to find out the relationship or try to learn from them. This is my ML model. Okay. Once my machine learning model is built, I said, okay, my machine learning model has learned now. It has learned. Then what I will do? I will check its performance now. Let me show you PPT properly if you want to see that, how it works. See, I've acquired my data. Here. You can see that. Just a second. I've acquired my data. Okay. Means gathered the data from somewhere. I did my data cleaning or data pre-processing. Then I divided my data into two parts. See, I divided my data into two parts. One is the test data and second one is your training data. Okay. Based on that training data, I will train my machine learning model and build my machine learning model. Once that is done, you are saying, okay, my model has been built. I will try to test it, but I will not test it on my training data. Of course, this model has been built on the training data only. Very much like, suppose I teach you in the exam 5 questions. And I'm going to ask you in the exam same 5 questions. Of course, you are going to perform good. No doubt about that. You are going to perform very well because same questions I'm giving to you. But My motto was, you should learn the concepts. You should learn the concept instead of mugging up everything. You should learn the concept. I teach you 5 questions along with all the concept, but I didn't give you same questions. All the concepts are same, but I give you now new questions based on the same concept. Based on the same concept. So now I will check your true knowledge, because if I'm training you on the 5 questions and exactly same 5 questions I'm giving to you, or out of there, suppose I give you 2 questions, out of those 5 only, of course your performance will be very good, because same thing I taught you, same thing I'm asking you. Very easy. But what I did, I taught you 5 concepts. I taught you 5 concepts, 5 questions, but based on that 5 questions, I gave you an exam, 2 new questions, but those were based on the same concept. So persons who have, you can say, ratta everything about from this, who have mug up everything from the 5 questions, they are going to perform very bad, because they have not learned the concept, they have mug up everything. But the person who has learned the concepts properly, when I'm giving you new questions to them, okay, new questions on the same concept, now the true performance will be judged, whether actually the person has learned or not, right or wrong. Please tell me. Is it clear or not? Please tell me, everyone. Am I audible? I'm not able to hear anyone voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so if same data which has been used for training, we are testing on the same data, so is it reflecting the true performance? No, not at all. So that's why initially what we did, from the same data, we kept some data aside. That should be hidden from your training process. That should be hidden from your training process. But of course, the pattern of that your test data must be similar to your machine learning model only. Okay, now what we did, once you say, okay, my machine learning model has been trained, I will send this test data to check my model. Okay, now how it is performing. Okay, fine, you have trained on the trained data. Now please take my test data and give me the performance. And once you will check, okay, performance is fine, it is giving me satisfactory result, further fine, please deploy your machine learning model. It's ready to use. But if performance of the test data is not coming good, go back and retrain your model or do some modification in your model. Either your model is bad that you have chosen, or you are not selected your parameters properly. You have to do some modifications in that. This is how your actual machine learning model is being built. This is the process. You will gather the data, clean the data, pre-process the data, divide the data into the 2 parts, test data and train data. Train your machine learning model only on training data. Once your machine learning model has been trained, it has found out the relationship, perfectly fine. Now input the test data, and from that test data, evaluate, okay, for this test data, this is the output coming. Now check, is it the proper thing? Is it the proper thing? Means, is it giving the good result on the test data? If it is giving good result on the test data, perfectly fine. Deploy your model. Your model is perfectly fine. But if it is not the case, please do something with your model training. Either retrain your model or change your model, depending upon the what error actually you are getting. Is it fine, everyone? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So whatever data you will get, you have to divide that data into 2 parts. And which data will be hidden? Tell me. Which data will be hidden during training part?
Test data. Test
Yes.
data.
You will never ever, if you somehow presented it to your training or your model, trust me, you may get, of course, see, very, very easy thing. Suppose I even included this data for training. I will even included this data for the training. Fine. And from the same test, I give the, from the same data, I set for the testing. Of course, my performance will be very good, because I've trained on the same, I'm testing on the same, my performance is going to be very good. But what is going to happen when you are going to deploy your model? Okay, and new data is coming, it will happen. Understand, it is not like that only this data will happen, because scenario keeps on changing. Scenario keeps on changing. Only model deployment is not sufficient. You have to continuously take feedback from your wherever you have deployed the model, how my model performance is performing. Suppose taken a data from India only, where currently only Indian students were there. But what happened? In 1 year, so several students came from Africa, right? In 1 year. So my results are going to be affected. So what I will do, I will retrain my model based on this data. I will retrain my model. Even means only model deployment is not sufficient. Sometimes even after model deployment, you have to retrain your data because new data is coming in. Do you understand the machine learning life cycle? Please tell me. It's an iterative process. Remember, it's an iterative process. It keeps on repeating, repeating, and repeating. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now keep in mind, you have two kinds of data you will be having. You will be having your training data and test data. In fact, if you ask me what I do, I even break my data into 3 parts. Let me tell you what I do. What I do. Let me clean it. Okay. What I do, I take my all data, okay, and divide it into 3 parts. One known as training data. Okay. One is validation data. And third one is test data. Actually, what happens in the real-time scenario, there will be a person, if you are a machine learning engineer, right? It depends upon the organization. If the organization is bigger, they will have data scientists separately. They will have machine learning engineers separately. But if the organization is smaller, they will be having, suppose a person will be acting same as a data scientist and a machine learning engineer. So what they does normally, this test data, they always keep with them. They will never show you. Okay, you are a team of machine learning engineers, so you don't have a option of that. You will go, this is with your boss. This is with your boss. Okay, and when you will say, okay, my model is ready, then only you will go to your boss. Okay, so they normally keep it with them only, test data. So how can I evaluate how my machine learning model is performing well? So what we do, we have divided our data into, so I say to the boss, okay, sir, don't give me test data. Give me training data or validation data. Even if doesn't give, he give you one set of data only. Test data he kept with him. He gave me one set of data. He's saying this is your training data. So what I will do, being smart, I will again divide it into 2 parts. Train and validation. Right? Train and validation. So what I will do, I will train my model on this, evaluate my model on the basis of this, because this is hidden. And if some kind of tuning is required, I can perform on this later on. Some kind of tuning is required, I can perform on this. So this way, when I'm sure, okay, my model is performing good on the trained data as well as on the validation data, now I will go to my boss. Sir, my model is fine. Please check on your testing. Now you can check on your testing. Is it fine, everyone? Till this point, whatever we discussed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we are going ahead now. This. Okay. So what I was saying, you got an idea how iterative things happen. So we were on our supervised machine learning algorithm. So in the supervised machine learning algorithm, what kind of data you will get? Tell me. Give me one word. What kind of data you will get?
Labeled data.
Yes, very good. Labeled data. You will get our labeled data, means output variables will be there. Now comes second kind of machine learning algorithm, okay, which is unsupervised. The name itself is saying it's unsupervised. In this particular case, you will have unlabeled data. I repeat again, unlabeled data means output variable will not be there. Okay, or your label will not be there, or your target variable will not be available to you. How will you train your model? The problem becomes complex. Earlier it was very easy, find out relationship between your output and input. Now the problem is complex. They are not giving you output variable. Now these are different applications now. Okay, here what we try to do, here we try to find out groups of data points. Here we try to find out groups of data points. Sometimes we also call them as clusters, based on input features. Okay, so you will try to find out pattern among the data. Pattern among the data. Let me give you a small example. You'll understand that real-time case study. Let's say MATLAB, if I open, it will take time. Image segmentation example. Let me give you an example. Segmentation. Okay. Let me come here. This is very good. This is very good. You can understand that. Okay. Can you see two images are here in front of that? Right? And this is one image. This is better, I guess, if you can understand that. That is better. Okay. This is an image which is given to me of cat. This is an image which is given to me of cat. What it's trying to find out, it is able to distinguish your background, that is your sky, your greenery, okay, and the cat separately. Separately, see, it is able to immediately highlight your cat portion. This is your ground portion. This is something else. This is something else. So actually in unsupervised algorithms, what we tell them, we try to tell them, please try to find out patterns among the data. We don't have any label. Okay. Try to find out patterns among the data. Try to find out similarity between the data and group them based on features. For example, this is an example I got. There's some features setting. So I got cat separate, sky separate. There are tons and tons of examples. See here. This is one wonderful example. Can you see how beautifully it is able to segregate? These are cars. Okay. So all the cars are represented by red colors. If you can see that, all the cars are being represented by red colors. All the plants here are represented by green colors, and all the surrounding buildings are represented by yellow color. Footpaths are represented by sky blue colors, and your road is represented by pink colors. Right? So this is what happening. This is nothing but your unsupervised algorithm which are working under the hood. They are trying to find pattern among the data. They're trying to find pattern among the data, or they're trying to find groups. They are trying to create groups of the data based on similarity. Based on similarity of the data. So you find out, okay, height is this, width is this. Okay, this should be a car. One feature. Okay, this also represents the same features. This also should be a car. Okay, so they all belong to the same group. They all belong to the same group. Okay, see one more image here. If you can get an idea. It is able to identify your backgrounds, your foreground. Easily it is able to distinguish your giraffes as well. Okay, these all are example of your clustering, not particularly clustering is an example of unsupervised algorithm only, and this is happening with the clustering only, but unsupervised algorithm, no label is given to you. No label is given to you. You have to find out patterns among the data, or you have to group the data based on the similarity of features. Okay, this is the image I show. It may be like this also. Suppose this is my one feature x1. This is my second feature x2, and these are value like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some points are lying here. Okay, some points are lying here. Okay, and some points are lying here. Something like this. So by visually saying, I'm not mentioning any particular class or something. I'm not mentioning anything. That's just data point. X1 input feature, X2 input feature, and I just draw them for X1. For example, X1 equal to 1. When X1 equal to 1, and one data point is X2 is also equal to 1. So I mark it here. Okay, like this. X2 is equal to 2, but X1 equals to 1. This is an input feature which is given to you. I marked it here. This point. X2, 1. And similarly, I plotted all these. So can you find out patterns among the data? Yes, I can see there are 3 clusters available, right or wrong? There are 3 clusters of data. So I can put these data points in one group, okay, and label them whatever you want. Whatever you want. Suppose I said them, okay, X1 and X2 are feature. These are the feature of, suppose, animal known as a horse. And give an example. Suppose this is height. and this is weight, right? And this is also one cluster, we can say, or one group of data points. This is also one group of data points. So here we identify the things which have height above 3 and weight above 2. They're all coming in one cluster known as horse. Okay, there is something which has small height and small weight. Suppose this is nothing but your cat. There is something which doesn't have much more height but have more weight. Suppose these are dogs. So you have to find out patterns among the data, and no label will be given to you. No label. That means your data will be unlabeled. It will be like this only. Height and weight. Height and weight is given to you. And accordingly, you have to cluster everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. 2.5, 3.6. And accordingly, you have to cluster the data and find out the patterns among the data. Tell me, is it clear or not, please, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have two major type of algorithms. Remember, one is your supervised, in which labeled data will be given to you, means your output variable you will be having. Okay, your output variable you will be having. But in case of this unsupervised algorithm, no output variable will be available. That's why I said you have to select the model properly. I will have to use supervised algorithm or unsupervised algorithms. That's why see your data. What kind of data I am having? Accordingly, you are going to work. Accordingly, you are going to work. Okay. Now, third category of there is one more algorithm which is a mixture of supervised and unsupervised, which is known as semi-supervised. You can understand from this. Means all the data points will not have labels. Only some of the data points will have labels. For example, x1 and x2 is there. And this is my output variable. So suppose for this parameter, I'm having value 1.2, 3.4. For this output is available. So let's say cat. Okay. And other parameter 2.3, 3.4, no output is available. No, nothing is available. But again, 3.2, 4.6, nothing is available. But like for next parameter, 4.5, 6.2 available. Let's say dog. So you will have a mix of data. I mean, some of the labeled data will be there and some of the unlabeled data will be there. This kind of algorithm is known as semi-supervised algorithms. Semi-supervised, not perfectly supervised, they are semi-supervised. And last one is your reinforcement learning. It's still people are researching on this reinforcement learning. Okay. And normally, as I told you, these are being employed in your robotics, your games, video games that you play. Okay. In reinforcement learning, what happens? We have three things. One is an agent who wants to learn. Okay, agent who wants to learn. Second one, your environment. Okay, with which your agent interact. Environment with which an agent interact. Third one is action. I'm just typing some keywords. Remember, main things are these: agent, environment, and second one is action, which agent perform. Okay, so three things are there. Understand? Agent who wants to learn means learner. Okay, let's say your robot. He's a learner. You want to train them. Environment under which it interacts. Okay, the thing with which it interacts, right? For example, in case of supervised, in case of our self-driven car, my car is what? My car is an agent. And environment is what? You understand? Environment is entire road on which it will travel. You may find different people there. Okay, and whatever action it is going to perform, that is nothing. Whatever action the agent will perform is nothing but action. Whatever he is doing. Okay, so based on what happens, agent interacts with environment, performs certain actions, and based on his actions, agent will get some rewards. And the objective of agent is to maximize those rewards. The objective of agent is to maximize those rewards. Okay, let me give an example now. Let me give an example. Suppose first time your baby is born, baby is there, and first time he went to boil milk. First time he went to boil the milk, get milk. His mama said, okay, when the when the milk is boiled, just do one thing, close your gas or your stove and take the milk out of the gas. Okay, first time he went there, he successfully turned off the gas, but he didn't know that time that milk may be hot. Milk may be hot. Okay, so he hold the milk with the hands. Then what will happen? His hands will burn. His hands will burn. Will he repeat the same mistake again? Tell me. If next time her mama or his mama send him to boil the milk, will he again catch the hot milk by bare hands? Please give me the answer.
No, sir.
Perfectly right. Same thing is with the reinforcement learning. Your agent will interact with the environment, perform some actions, but that he should perform the actions in a manner that he should get rewards. Okay. For example, he performed something wrong, so he will get negative rewards. Negative, opposite for him. Something bad has happened. So next time what he will do? He will try not to do the same thing. He will try to maximize rewards instead of reducing the reward or receiving any negative comment. He will try to perform positive things. Okay, so what is happening? He will try to perform action based on experience. Okay, agent will try to perform actions based on experience. It will learn itself. This is a greatest example of your reinforcement learnings. Is it fine, everyone? Get an idea? Please tell me.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are basically three kinds of machine learning algorithms. We came through supervised algorithm, in which we have a labeled data, unsupervised algorithm, in which we won't have any labeled data. If you combine them, then semi-supervised, and third one is your reinforcement learning. Third one is going to be your reinforcement learning, and first one we are going to start is our supervised learning algorithm. Okay. Supervised learning algorithm, and we are going to start with the easiest algorithm ever available, supervised learning algorithm, and we are going to start with the easiest algorithm known as K nearest neighbor algorithm, in short KNN algorithm.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, I have another class from 7:30. So
Okay,
I leave.
don't worry, we'll start tomorrow. Okay, we'll start
Okay,
tomorrow.
sir.
We'll start this topic from tomorrow. Is it fine, everyone? So we'll begin with tomorrow K nearest neighbor algorithm or KNN algorithm, and we will do practical implementation with Python as well. Okay, we will implement same algorithm with the Python tomorrow. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So okay, I'm ending for the
Okay.
day. Thanks, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow again at 6 o'clock. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night. Thanks, everyone.